Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. All right, so over the last few years, guys, I've done several types of videos on my YouTube channel. Of course, some of them discuss different kinds of theories, XRP price predictions, concepts regarding government and institutions that do have influence over the new financial system. Well, guys, I was going over some of these videos the other day, and I thought of something as I was going through. So, I do a video every single day. Sometimes I do 2 videos. And so, when you go back to the catalog and, you notice certain videos, in this case, video that I did, a few years ago, and then, you remember that concept, then you think, yeah, but I just talked about this just last week. Well, guys, I've come up with something that, may be of interest to you. I don't know how long you guys have been with me. I did this video back in March of 2024. It was titled, Is Tony Valentino's 2022 Theory Coming True? And I highlighted an audio interview of Jim Willie discussing the sunsetting of the US dollar. And at that point, we were talking about how that could usher in XRP utility. Well, guys, over the last few weeks now, there have been more signs pointing to this exact theory. We're going to get to that in a sec. But first, I want you guys to listen to this. Bottom line is the bottom line. To understand what is being done, XRP cannot be done without approval from the very top. Nations have been invaded and leaders killed for challenging the US dollar. XRP is meant to retire the US dollar standard. So the sunsetting of the US dollar, remember this video I did, guys, about a year ago, a banger of a video. I posted it on January the 16th, 2023, an interview with Jim Willie suggesting just that. XRP is going to be responsible for helping to sunset the US dollar. Listen to this. He also reiterates this idea that XRP is going to be the basis for the new system once the old dollar is phased out.
We finally got to the point where my forecast for the last 5 years is coming to the fore. I said there will come a day when the import supply is interrupted because the foreigners who export to the U.S. and create our imported supply will refuse the dollar. Look what we're doing to the dollar. We're printing it, allowing Wall Street to steal a third of the COVID stimulus. We're giving money to households. We're undermining the integrity of the dollar, and the foreigners say, you've hit the Weimar field. We don't want your stinking dollar. That's interrupted the supply chain. Okay, inflation is not going to get fixed unless the supply chain is improved. Inflation is not going to get fixed until we get to the new system. I'm talking about the dollar sunset. We're finally there. We're talking about replacements to the dollar in the next few months. You remember back in '99, Europe had to turn in their Deutschmarks, Italian lira, French francs, and Spanish pesetas. They had to turn them in. And Greek drachmas, they had to turn them in for euros. There's a 90-day period. We're going to have something like that. Turn in your old dollars and get the new ones. I believe Kennedy is on the new $100 bill. And they're all plastic.
New dollar sunset, guys, similar to how European countries had to, hand in their fiat for euros. So he talks about a 5-year forecast and how this is coming true. The supply chain is getting messed up. Okay, I'm just going to leave it there, but I will link this full video up here in the top right-hand corner. A great video from Jim Willie. In that video, he does also mention XRP, by the way, so if you want to check that out, you can find it there. But really, this is why Bitcoin maxis can forget about those $250,000 and $1 million Bitcoin valuations. That won't happen, says Tony Valentino. If that were to happen, that would mean the US dollar is worth less than toilet paper, but the powers that be just won't allow such a challenge to the monetary system. And this is why Ripple is proud to say that they work with the system and work with central banks, etc. What they actually mean is that they are working with the powers that be and working with their directives, and that is evident from their board of directors. So guys, we can talk all day about this and how Ripple's connection has been known for a very, very long time. Remember this from ISO 20022, let's do it. This is an old photograph, Brad from Ripple. We've got Jesse Cheng here, who used to work at Ripple as well, now is at the IMF. Christine Lagarde of the IMF, and a bunch of other heavy hitters like Ross Leckow. Some people here also representing the MAS. So let's focus on the IMF. Let's talk about this sunsetting of the US dollar and the fact that, as Tony Valentino says here, Ripple is proud to work with the system, with central banks. that has been being demonstrated time and time again. Here's just another photo from this tweet thread of Brad Garlinghouse discussing this at a BIS meeting from 2019. Christine Lagarde there in the front row. So we've heard this concept time and time again. Then, guys, back on October the 1st, I believe this was, October the 1st, 2024, I did this video. This was Kim Clement predicting something that I think got the XRP community very, very excited. This one from Kim Clement. Is this an XRP prediction? Well, it could be. So he apparently died in 2016, but he is an author, a prophet. Unfortunately, there's no Wikipedia for him, but this article does say from back in 2021, how much do you know about the late South African pastor Kim Clement? He was a renowned man of God, famous for his controversial prophecies. However, throughout his life, he touched many people's lives and won many souls. So he did die in 2016, guys. And I don't know if you saw this video. Listen to this.
The source of energy is very important for people who are listening all over the world. And I had 2 clues, which I'm going to give you one today. Okay? I'm going to give you one clue now, which I haven't spoken of yet. You ready, Mr. Codebreaker?
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Because I'm the code maker. And then the other one is the tree, the oak tree, which is a symbol which people have been researching, not yet revealed. But people are researching out there because it's a puzzle. God won't give us everything because it's not the right time. But something starting with an X and it has a P in it is a very profound something that's going to be worth investing in. And I can't say the whole thing because I don't know it. But I had a dream and I saw an X and I think there may have been a number and something else and then P. Now, I'm only giving you what I prophetically hear. Otherwise, I could be accused of representing a company, which, of course, they could take me to court on that, but I'm not going to, that's what I'm hearing, and most people know I hear things by the Holy Spirit, and I just say it. And so it's a prophetic thing, this. But it's also giving signs to the people.
Are you kidding me? It starts with an X and has a P in it. And guys, if he died in 2016, I mean, this would have been way before any of this XRP community engagement. When the XRP community was very, very small, guys. This was back in and that's when he died. I don't know when he actually made this prediction here, but guys, it would have had to been somewhere in here if he died in November of 2016. So he died somewhere here. Guys, it starts with an X and has a P in the name. And it is an investment opportunity, a lucrative one at that. So there we have Kim Clement, and I go on to talk about this Brandon Biggs video. I did just do a Brandon Biggs recap just the other day. But let's think about this prediction, right? Kim Clement saying there was an X, there was a P in it, and it's going to be the investment opportunity of a lifetime. Now, I also wanted to remind you guys about this video that I did. This was from 3 years ago now, from February 2022. And guys, at that time, it was just revealed that the World Bank was hinting that XRP and XLM could be a stable high price. They were calling these particular cryptocurrencies stablecoins. And this guy's from @KernowMaiden here on Twitter. This was from a November 2021 report, so from a couple of months ago. But this was directly from the World Bank Group on CBDCs. I had not seen this report, but when you dig a little deeper, it's interesting. So she says on page 31, Ripple and XRP are mentioned for cross-border payments, and for retail, Stellar and XLM are mentioned, and call them digital currencies. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention, the fact that the World Bank has even called these digital currencies. They also mentioned Bitcoin and Ethereum, only mentioned as proof of work comparisons. So the World Bank, one of those influential financial institutions globally that does see the value in Ripple and XRP, Stellar's XLM for different purposes, XRP for cross-border, XLM for retail specifically, calling them digital currencies. So, just to the point of the lawsuit, XRP in court being called a security. Well, the World Bank doesn't agree with that. Here's the document, Central Bank Digital Currencies for Cross-Border Payments, a review of current experiments and ideas. And it's quite a lengthy PDF. I will link it in the description for those of you guys who are interested in reading the full thing. The thing I wanted to point out, guys, was something that Digital Asset Buy here mentioned, and I thought was interesting as well. I think I've seen this from the World Bank before, but in light of today's regulatory talks in the US on stablecoins, it's even more interesting. Why would the World Bank refer to XRP and XLM as stablecoins? So there's a few things here, okay? Regulatory clarity in the US looking to regulate stablecoins. we don't think of XRP and XLM as a stablecoin. Of course, we have seen prices go up and prices go down. And even as of today, we are seeing price fluctuate. Like, let's just put this on the hourly real quickly. And I know this is fairly basic information for probably most of you guys. Even on the hourly, XRP has fluctuated. Right now, it's trading, as of the time of this recording, trading at about 63 cents. But, it was trading as low as 62.6 just last hour. And 2 days ago, it was trading at 58.8. So, fluctuations of, here, let me bring up the price range tool here. 7% to the upside, 8% to the upside. That does not sound too stable to me. So why classify this as a stable coin, considering we are not seeing any stability? Well, it could be for regulatory reasons, but then when you read further, okay, stable coins refer to a class of digital currencies that are relatively stable in terms of their price. Stablecoins offer instantaneous processing and security of payments, as many cryptocurrencies do. They also offer stability with respect to their parity against fiat currencies. Two digital currencies that fall into this category are RippleNet's native digital currency XRP and Stellar Networks' native cryptocurrency, the Stellar Lumen XLM. Both Ripple and Stellar enable faster and more efficient cross-border payments relative to correspondent banking. However, they differ in that the former aims at improving cross-border settlement between international banks, whereas the latter aims to provide low-cost cross-border payment financial services to end users and the unbanked population. So, commenting on XRP, XLM as two digital currencies, but calling them stable coins, how is it that they can say that when we know these coins, and I can bring up the XLM chart as well, I don't think I have to, when these coins clearly are not stable? Well, guys, it reminds me of a video I did a couple of years ago and just updated it last year. I will link this video in the description. Actually, I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner to make it easy for you guys. If you guys did not see this video, Ripple XRP, David Schwartz's vision, how and why XRP needs to moon in the blink of an eye. And I'm going to give you guys a synopsis. If you want to watch the video, it will be there for you. But David Schwartz ultimately says, okay, the price of XRP right now is reflecting the speculative market. Ripple eventually wants to target high-value cross-border payments. And you've heard David Schwartz say this before. The price of XRP has to be at a high enough price in order to target those cross-border payments. So what has to happen? Well, we can't have the price of XRP stay at 63 cents forever. So what David Schwartz is suggesting is that in the blink of an eye, essentially overnight, I don't know if it'll literally happen overnight, but essentially it has to rise from whatever the price is today to a high enough price, whether that's $50, $60, $100, $589. It has to essentially get up to a high enough price so that Ripple can conduct those high value payments. And then at that point, guys, the cryptocurrency will remain relatively stable. You won't need as many of them, therefore there will be less demand, but at that high enough price, the supply and the demand will remain stable, and you might see it fluctuate, fractions of percentage points, but ultimately will remain stable to be able to conduct those cross-border payments globally, those high-value ones that Ripple has been constantly saying they've been wanting to target since day one. So that was an interesting addition to this particular video. I'm going to link that David Schwartz video that I talked about in this video up here in the top right-hand corner because you guys were just watching a video of me talking about a video. So I'm going to link it up there. David Schwartz has allegedly gone on the record with Mr. B XRP at Swell 2019. I remember when he told us about it. He basically told Mr. B XRP that, we can't actually see the price climb slowly. It basically does have to get to a high price, boom, like that, in the blink of an eye. So that kind of explains why the World Bank would consider XRP and XLM stablecoins. Now, the XRP XLM connection, of course, we know the connection there is Jed McCaleb did found both companies. So interesting to say the least. Now, let's fast forward to just maybe a couple of weeks ago. Okay, when I did this video, this was originally done on October the 14th, 2025, so just about a week ago. And if you guys don't remember this was the Wrath of Kahneman's theory regarding these ETFs, these cryptocurrency ETFs, and what it could mean with regards to a high stable price of XRP. Maybe this is what David Schwartz was explaining. Why do we have ETFs? Is there another reason rather than just getting retail and institutions exposure to cryptocurrency products? Well, Wrath of Kahneman came up with a theory here. Volume is what has been traded, okay? The depth is what can be traded without moving the price. For XRP to be used at scale, depth is more important than volume. So an interesting concept here. We need XRP used at scale. And so depth is more important than volume. This is why we have the ETFs. And he's going to explain why here. Commonly measured at 1% depth, this April report by Keiko Market Explorer is encouraging. So we have altcoins here, 1% market depth. But you guys can see XRP is at the top of the list, followed by Solana. Then I think it's ADA, Litecoin, then AVAX, then DOT, and then Link down at the bottom. But guys, XRP has the most market depth. He goes on to say, note that if the ETF physically holds XRP, more than just initial purchases to set up the funds, it's the ongoing creation and redemption of the shares as institutional buy and sells that can improve market depth. So XRP, again, being the number one here, followed by Solana. So I'm seeing a trend here. XRP, Solana, number 1 and 2. He says that's going to improve market depth. This reduces slippage, stabilizing the price. So guys, XRP could get up to that high, stable price if more institutional demand is driven to these ETFs. At least that's what Rath Economist's theory is here, his hypothesis. So this will be seen in the 1% market depth on exchanges in April. Both XRP and Solana have the highest average 1% market depth on Keiko indice-vetted exchanges. So market depth has been building. And for those of you guys who just want a bit of an overview here, a bit of a definition, market depth is a measure of a security's liquidity, showing the number of buy and sell orders at various price levels in an order book. It indicates how much a security can be bought or sold without significantly impacting the price. So a deeper market has more buyers and sellers, allowing large trades to occur with less price volatility, while a shallow market is more prone to large price swings from one single order. So guys, could it be about the market depth? Could this be the reason why Ripple is so keen on getting these ETFs up and running? All very good questions. I mean, the ETFs, we've heard Brad Garlinghouse talking about them, very much a proponent of these ETFs getting launched. Now, again, another video that I did just about a week ago, is Ripple planning the RLJPY next in Japan? So this goes to that theory that, we do have big players at the table with Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple. Again, these photos, I believe, were both from 2019. So could this plan have been in the making for a very long time? And now we're actually seeing it come to a head. So in this particular video, I talk about how Ripple could, in fact, be planning their next slew of stablecoins. I mean, they've already launched the RLUSD, and it's becoming more and more successful as the weeks go on, slowly and steadily. But guys, now the theory is they could be planning on launching one in Japan. I guess I should say that this clip here does start off with a representative of Rakuten discussing the fact that these Japanese banks have been using Ripple and XRP for a very long time. So I'm just going to play that video. I'm going to start it here.
So there's over 1,600 cryptocurrencies today that use blockchain. So all of us have probably heard about Bitcoin, some of us about Ethereum. In Japan, almost every bank is starting to work with something called XRP, or you may know it as Ripple. And there's many others.
Jevons was saying this years ago now, and now Japan's top banks have joined forces to issue their first yen-pegged stablecoin. So these are the companies involved, and I want to remind you guys that Mitsubishi UFG Financial Group, or MUFG, Sumitomo Mitsui Bank, and Mizuho Financial Group, all three of these banks, committed to running on RippleNet, and this was back from 2017. You guys can see here, Sumitomo Mitsui, MUFG joins Ripple's Japanese banking consortium, and we have those banks here, Sumitomo Mitsui Bank, MUFG, and Mizuho. So now these guys are looking to collaborate on a stablecoin pegged to the Japanese yen. According to a local report, the new stablecoin will also be pegged to the US dollar. So I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work, but it sounds interesting. Of course, there's a drive for adoption of stablecoins. The goal of the initiative is to create a single platform for stablecoin payments, which will streamline settlement processes and lower costs for businesses by enabling smoother cross-border transactions, making payment processes more efficient. So I'm wondering if this is some kind of a stablecoin where they know they're going to need to transact in US dollars, but they also want it somehow denominated in the Japanese yen. Again, like I said, not entirely sure how that's going to work, how you can have a stablecoin that's pegged to two separate currencies. But I thought it was interesting. Remember, guys, that XRP is coming out with the RLEUR. And so I wanted to bring this up because of this particular story here. And I don't know if you guys remember when you do type in, and I'm just going to type in RLEUR, and I've demonstrated this in some of my other videos. You type that in there, and this directs you directly to Ripple's webpage. As you guys can see, it goes directly to Ripple. So I thought to myself, why not type in RLJPY? And as you guys can see, I've already done it there. RLJPY.com. And when you click on that, it doesn't actually take you to Ripple's website, but it does leave you on a lander, which just brings you a blank page. So I decided to see, is there any other information we can glean from this? So apparently the website is already taken. And, to have the website RLJPY.com, it's, it doesn't seem like anybody else would really want that website. It was just registered in September of 2024, so fairly recently as well. Two clues to suggest that Ripple has probably purchased the domain. I think it's very probable Ripple has purchased that domain. So guys, it makes sense. We do need XRP to get up to that high price. The ETFs could be the catalyst for that. Now Ripple's working on these stablecoins, knowing full well that, a US dollar sunset could be in the works. And XRP is going to be that cross-border asset in order to make this a reality, in order for the entire world to be able to transact on the XRP ledger. I don't know, guys. It's just a theory, just my opinion. And for more opinions on how I'm treating this particular bull run, you guys can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. Price has kind of been all over the map at the moment, but this is where I open it up. I'm being completely transparent with where I'm selling my cryptocurrencies. And you guys have a direct line to me. You guys can send me direct messages and I respond to everybody over there. It is only $5 a month, cheaper than some people pay for coffee every single day. So patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. If that's something you're interested in. I also thought I'd mention the Working Money Channel merch store. If you guys are interested in purchasing some Working Money Channel merch, every little bit counts to help support the channel. So thanks so much to everybody, I guess, already who's already purchased merchandise. I want to thank all of you guys. You guys are great. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.